access to finance is a key challenge for small businesses across Africa. With most banks focused on less risky large corporates, the importance of financing from foreign lending institutions is even more critical. Now, the European Investment Bank, Europe's long-term lending institution, will provide 50 million euros for lending to SMEs in 11 African countries through Nigeria's United Bank for Africa, that's UBA. Now, CNBC Africa's Wole caught up with EIB's Guus Heim. He's the head of division for Africa for more on the deal and, of course, financing Africa's SMEs.
And it's devoted to promotion of small and medium-scale enterprises, and particularly to help them invest in productive capacity. So it's long-term financing, and it is focused at the SMEs. And what is interesting too is that it's not just Nigeria, because we are partnering with UBA, which is present, throughout Africa. There's 18 subsidiaries outside of Nigeria, and particularly it's active, and that is what makes this deal very interesting for us in some of the very difficult countries, the post-conflict countries, where things need to be built up again. And there again, the private sector and particularly small and medium-scale enterprises will play a key role. But the problem in those countries is that the financial sector is in a rudimentary state, and therefore we're very happy that UBA is active in that area, and that we can partner up with UBA and use its channels, to get the resources out to small and medium-scale enterprises, even in these very difficult markets, such as Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire. So for us, it's very important.
All right, but high interest rates are a key challenge for many SMEs across Africa. Yeah. Can you just speak to the opportunity that you see for institutions like UBA, and of course, as you partner with them, other similar institutions across Africa, to lend to the SMEs? Because in Nigeria, for instance, SMEs are seen as a very risky place to be. Most strategies are towards SMEs for raising deposit as opposed to lending.
Yeah. I think what I would like to stress is that, the purpose of the operation is not to provide cheap lending. We need to follow market rates. We don't want to distort markets, so there's no subsidized lending involved in this operation. But what is important is that we're providing long-term resources in order to enable UBA to provide long-term lending for investment purposes. And this is what really makes this operation, I think, attractive for both parties. So subsidized lending is not the idea, but of course, the EIB is in a fortunate position that it has a relatively good access to the international capital markets. So we can provide lending on fine terms. It's not very expensive.
So this is long-term lending to SMEs?
Long-term.
So
we're providing a long-term.
What type of tenors are we talking about?
We're talking about 4 years, 5 years, which I think in the case of Nigeria, in the case of Africa in general, is already very long-term lending for private sector, and particularly for the SMEs. And you were talking about risks, and that I think is an important feature of this operation as well. Because UBA is on the ground, we're working out of Luxembourg. We've got the resources, but we don't have sort of the market intelligence. For us, it's very difficult to assess risk, but UBA knows its clients, it knows its market, so we're teaming up, we're providing the resources, and UBA is doing the risk analysis and making sure that the risks are sustainable and that the money eventually will flow back, because these are loans, this is not grant funding. This money needs to come back.
That's CNBC Africa's Wole Famurewa speaking with Europe Investment Bank's Guus Heim, of course, on lending to SMEs across Africa.